A billionaire's son thought he had seen it all: wealth, privilege, and luxury. But nothing prepared him for the moment he brought the woman he loved home. She was elegant, intelligent, and carried herself with quiet dignity. Yet when she stepped inside his family's estate, all eyes locked on her wrist. A simple bracelet, ordinary to most, sent a chilling silence through the room. His father's face drained of color, secrets long buried clawing their way to the surface. What was it about that bracelet that could shatter an empire? Watch until the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Ethan Hayes had grown up surrounded by opulence. His father, a self-made billionaire, had built an empire of steel and finance, ensuring Ethan never wanted for anything. Yet, despite the mansions, the private jets, and the whispered expectations, Ethan longed for something real, something untouched by money or power. That's when he met Maya, a brilliant young woman studying art history. She was warm, insightful, and grounded in ways his world had never shown him to be. To Ethan, she wasn't just another date. She was the answer to a life he didn't know he craved. Their connection deepened, and soon he decided to bring her home. It was supposed to be a simple introduction: son meeting father, love meeting legacy. But behind the polished smiles of his family estate lurked an unspoken tension. What Ethan didn't realize was that Maya carried with her more than love. She had history. The night of the dinner, the Hayes estate glowed with chandeliers and polished marble. Ethan held Maya's hand proudly as they stepped into the grand hall. Servants whispered. Guests turned. Ethan thought it was her beauty that caught their eyes. He didn't yet see the unease, the flickers of disapproval written across faces trained to hide judgment. Maya wore a modest dress, but on her wrist rested a silver bracelet, its design old and intricate. She often wore it, saying it was her grandmother's, a family heirloom passed down through generations. To her, it was a piece of love and resilience. When they entered the dining room, Ethan's father, Richard Hayes, froze mid-sentence. His gaze locked on Maya's wrist, and his confident posture faltered. Around the table, others noticed too, though none dared speak. The air grew heavy, a tension Ethan couldn't explain. Dinner began, but Richard's eyes never left the bracelet. Finally, as Maya reached for her glass, the silver glinted under the chandelier, and Richard nearly dropped his fork. Ethan frowned. He had seen his father close billion-dollar deals without blinking, yet here he was, rattled by a piece of jewelry. As laughter and chatter filled the room, Ethan leaned closer to Maya, whispering if she was okay. She smiled, unaware of the storm brewing across the table. Ethan had no idea his father was staring at a relic of his darkest past, a past tied to his family's fortune and to the very woman sitting across from him. The moment of truth came suddenly. Richard Hayes slammed his glass onto the table, the sharp crack silencing the room. His eyes, cold and shaken, fixed on Maya. "Where did you get that bracelet?" he demanded, his voice trembling with something between rage and fear. Maya froze, her hand instinctively covering her wrist. She explained quietly. It had belonged to her grandmother, who survived years of hardship, carrying it as a reminder of freedom and resilience. However, Richard's face told a different story. That bracelet, he realized, had once belonged to a woman his company exploited decades ago, a life destroyed for profit. And now, fate had placed it back in his house, worn by the woman his son loved. The empire he built was suddenly crumbling beneath the weight of truth. Silence hung like a blade. the glittering wealth of the Hayes estate suddenly meaningless. Ethan looked from his father to Maya, his heart pounding. For him, the bracelet wasn't a symbol of shame. It was proof of her strength, her history, her unbroken legacy. Richard Hayes said nothing more, but the truth was undeniable. His empire had been built on injustice, and now it was being unmasked by love. Ethan reached for Maya's hand, holding it firmly in defiance of the past his family had hidden. This was more than a dinner. It was a reckoning, a reminder that wealth cannot bury truth, and that love has the power to expose even the darkest secrets. How many hidden histories lie behind the fortunes we admire? Comment your city and country below. Take care.